Hi folks, Matt here from the RCR podcast, and today I want to talk about the relaunch of our book. So stick around and stay tuned. Hi folks, so today what I want to talk about, this is going to be quite a brief one I suspect, but I want to talk about, I'm just holding this up for those of you that are looking on YouTube, the relaunch of our book here, which is called The Planning Application Hack. Specifically, it's the Architect's edition that we are relaunching. And the reason we're relaunching this is that this is something that we use very much as a tool to add value to our customers here at Rover. If any of the listeners want a copy, please do get in touch. And what I'll do is I will get the office here to send you out a free copy. There'll be a little questionnaire, a little quiz in the show notes. And the idea of that basically is to get a bit of a gauge of where you're up to at the moment in the planning application process. So if you've got a project at the moment and there are trees on or adjacent to the site and you need a little bit of feedback to see where you're up to, best thing to do is just to go along to that quiz that's in the show notes and take the assessment. And then once you've taken the assessment, what will happen is you'll get added to our wait list. I've only got, I think there's 250 copies in the first run of this, so they're going to sell out pretty quick. The last 1,000 of them flew off the shelves. You can get it on Amazon, but the copies that you get from us directly are just slightly better quality than what Amazon prints. So click the link in the show notes, fill out the assessment, get your planning back on track, join the wait list, and we will get this out to you. It's at the printers at the moment. I sent off the latest cover design. It's going to look slightly different to this green and black one. I think there's a tree on the front cover of the next one, and yeah, we'll get one out of those to you in the post. What's the book all about? Well, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's called The Planning Application Hack: How to Legally Break Through All the Red Tape so that you can finally get your planning approved, back on track, and your dream project over the line without fear of delays, hold-ups, or hidden charges. So that's what that is all about. We've got a number of there's a number of reviews in there as well, but there's a number of chapters in here, and I'll give you the chapter headings and you can let me know whether any of that sounds of any use to you. So we've got the planning system and where you can fail, where the power sits, so that's where we talk about the different stakeholders involved, legal pitfalls and how to avoid them, how it must be done, doing it yourself. Some people do still do their tree surveys to support planning application themselves, and you can, as long as it complies with the British standard. The waiting game, project is a go, the hidden project killer, and then we've got a bonus chapter on ecology, and I touch on biodiversity net gain in there as well. So if you have, if that sounds like that might be something that's of use to you, then yeah, reach out, get in contact, and we'll add you to that waiting list. So that's how that one will help you. The second thing that I want to talk about today is origin. And or do I want to talk about origin today, or am I going to include that on the next podcast? I'm not sure. I've had a few people email in just recently and they've said, look, Matt, I'm really interested in your background, how you got to where you are today, why you have such a strong interest in this sector. So I thought, actually, we'll probably do it on the next one. A little bit of an origin story, a little bit of a deep dive into my background, and yeah, my sort of ethos on helping people get their planning back on track, and how we at Rover go about that. So I'll tell you what we'll do today. I will go across to LinkedIn, or at least I would if we had some internet here. We'll go across to LinkedIn and we'll pull in some more questions from our listeners. So we've got two questions here. The first question is from Steve on LinkedIn, and he says, surely if trees are a problem, you just cut them down over the weekend. Steve, this is something that used to happen years and years ago. It's what's known as facilitatory felling, and local planning authorities really view this dimly. So there's a couple of things going on when we're talking about felling trees ahead of a planning application. The first is the trees might enjoy some statutory protection. They may well be protected by a tree preservation order, and it's not always easy to find out whether they are protected by a tree preservation order or not. You would need to go onto the local planning authority website, and not all LPAs publish details online, which means you would need to contact them directly, thus tipping them off as to what you are planning. The second is if the tree is located in a conservation area, and then you need to inform the local planning authority of what your intention is. Steve is a civil and structural engineering consultant, so possibly a slightly concerning suggestion there. But yeah, I mean, trees should be considered first, not last, in the planning process, and I would absolutely recommend you do not fell trees ahead of a planning submission. Far better to get an arboricultural consultant on board early, take a look at what constraints there are, and then ultimately that information can help you make the right decision. We've also got a reply to Steve's comment from Lindsay, who is a architect, and she says you might joke, but there's plenty of evidence that is the best thing to do. Again, I would highly recommend that nobody carries out facilitatory felling ahead of a planning application being submitted. Really bad idea. Another question here we've got from Michael. If planning officers know nothing whatsoever about trees, or anything else for that matter, why are they allowed to be planning officers? This falls outside my scope of knowledge, I'm afraid, Michael. I would not like to get into the realms of criticising other industry professionals. I don't really know a great deal of information about the planning officer's role, but it is, in fact, quite a complex role. A planning officer's role is to manage engagement with all consultees on a planning application, one of those consultees will be the tree officer. So yeah, it's they might not necessarily know anything about trees themselves, but they can obviously refer out to other professionals within the team. Michael then came back and said planning officers should know enough about trees not to need a tree officer. Another example of make work and expand. Yeah, I'm not going to get drawn on that one. But somebody else commented on there, Andy, and he goes on to say that planning officers need to know about so many material considerations and legal requirements, in addition to trees and conservation areas. Obviously their primary area of expertise is to understand those material considerations and legal requirements, whereas the tree officer is a specialist. So yeah, and Andy was previously a tree officer, and he's married to a planning consultant. So there we go. That's an interesting one. So I think that's where we're going to leave it on this one. In terms of the book, yeah, like I say, go into the show notes, click on the link, register your interest for the waiting list. When that comes through, we will get these rocking and rolling out in the post, and hopefully it will prove to be, as it has for many thousands of people, be a really useful reference guide to keep on the shelf. And you know where I am if you need any advice. That's all from me today, folks, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers now. Bye.